R.E.P.O, the roguelike horror game where you have to meet a quota of a certain amount of money, depending on what extraction you're on, in order to move on to the next level. In order to get money, you have to get valuable items to put in your cart, so that way you can transport them to the extraction point. Some items will try to harm you and can even be damaged if fallen or smashed, and also lose more value than it originally had. Now this simply won't be a walk in the park, as there will be at least 2 to 3 enemies on each level that will be determined, so you gotta keep your wits, sights, and mics about. With that being said, let's get into the good and the bad of this game.
Alright, so to start this off, I really do love the emphasis on teamwork in this game, as since you need to meet a quota for every extraction you go to, there will be items along the way that require an extra hand, and if you're able to lend it, then the process of extracting and leaving this place will go so much smoother.
Okay, there we go. Grab by the base so it's easier to maneuver.
Yo, bro, sorry that I'm doing bad.
Easy.
Nah, we good.
Jeez.
Yeah.
We found. I'm gonna take this down to extraction.
Oh my goodness.
Grab the cart.
Gotcha. Pro tip, it's best recommended to go over your quota if you can, because then you'll get to put all that extra money into either going into the shop, or if you have no more extractions along the way, towards your next extraction, so that way you can leave quicker and not have to deal with those annoying enemies. Speaking of enemies, different enemies react to things differently than other enemies. What I mean by that is that some of these enemies will attack you by seeing you, making eye contact, like the Enderman from Minecraft, or even just hearing you. A worst case scenario is being the Reaper, as this scarecrow looking lady will attack if she sees and hears you, giving her the ultimate double whammy. She reacted right now instead of reacting already. Dang! No!
No, we just lost like 8 banners.
Oh, and
Don't let yourself be fooled by his innocent demeanor. Sir Duckington.
So, you're probably wondering what I'm talking about. Well, Sir Duckington will become extremely hostile if grabbed or takes damage. So, make sure to dispose of him by finding a trash can with his face on it, or just ignore him, as he'll just follow you around. Very annoyingly, but he'll just follow you around and just stare at you until he finds something else interesting. Structurally, a thing I could tell you about R.E.P.O's layout, it's never the same in every map. So, despite you seeing the same stuff and things, the places on where they're positioned will change, including what enemies you'll face. So, keep that in mind when playing. The music, bruh. The music in this game is only limited to 2 soundtracks, but ambience-wise, boy does it go crazy. So, the title screen, a massive example I can get into you, so we can kind of move this procedurally along. The title screen, it makes everything seem super chill, super cheery, like you're on a vacation of sorts, right? In the beginning, until you load into the game, and then the subtle shift in the mood changes. You go from being calm and lax to feeling a bit tense and eerie due to the whole scenery around you. Creaking and dripping of faucets, it's just a bit weird. But it doesn't fully kick in yet, as you got your comrades, your buds, your pals, continuing back and forth, cracking jokes, cracking wise, while getting valuables so you can go to the next extraction. Then suddenly, a blind man with a shotgun walks in and instantly shoots one of your peers, and now said person is deceased. He can't respawn because his bed is gone. Only by meeting the quota and putting his head in the extraction while meeting the quota can your friends be brought back. But right now, you don't know that. All you know is that some random man came, into this room and ended your friend's life. Now the ambience of the room has changed. Everyone is quiet to the point where you can only hear the footsteps of the man walking around, awaiting to hear
who's his next victim that makes a sound. Now that is scary. That is truly scary, right? Not this whole FNAF stupid idiotic mess where the fear is relying on a human natural instinct of being jumpy or flinching, to something like a loud scream for no reason at all. Because anyone can make a boring plot of a horror feel validated simply by changing a frame a little too fast. Okay, look. I know that sounded extremely personal, but look, okay, that was to Andrew, alright? That was extremely to Andrew. It's a little editor's note. I know that, look, I had to get that one off my chest because I'm not a big horror fan, right? I promise you, I'm not a big horror fan. But man, I love suspense horror. I love that sort of eerie feeling, that psychological phasmophobia horror, you know, like that ambience feel, that nervousness. That is truly scary because you don't know what's gonna happen. I don't like when things are just jump scares because they feel cheap and pointless. That's stupid.
Look, see, I screamed. I gave you a fright because in your human natural instinct, you're gonna want to defend yourself when I give you a random frame, you know, just a random instance, or when I just spook you. Just give you a good scare. A ghost say boo for literally no reason. No story-wise, no sort of context or any sort of conception of a story or plot or any reasoning whatsoever. Just ha, and that's it. That's literally Five Nights at Freddy's. That's why I cannot even get into that game. But let's actually get into a much better game. That being R.E.P.O and literally like any other game. Also, jump scares are really like stupid and dumb because they're really stupid and cheap. Just relying on, again, your natural instinct in order to get afraid. So yeah, let's go ahead and get back into the game. Let's go ahead, get back into the game. Dang it.
Were you seriously trying to leave? Jeez. And here I thought giving you food was of the nicest generosity that I could have offered for you.
Yeah, because I'm gonna thank you for giving me the basic necessities that every human being should have, like food. I definitely should not be thanking you for literally capturing me in my own room. I'm literally kidnapped somehow in my own room. I feel like there should be a charge for that. Oh wait, there is. It's called kidnapping.
Alright. Look, if you can beat this simple banana-minded game, I'll let you go to the bathroom. Sounds like we got a deal?
You know what? Alright. If that's what we're gonna do, then fine. Let's do it. But first, we gotta have an intermission. You know, to separate the good part from the bad part, the review. So we show the good parts of the game, the bad parts of the game. It's kind of what we've always been doing.
Hey man, all I gotta say is that this game is indeed a great buy. From learning enemy patterns to goofing around with people, it's a great game for both the foreground and the background. Layouts and enemies constantly changing with each level, and musical shifts complemented along with it, R.E.P.O makes you know right away that no two stages will play the same back to back. And though it's pretty fun with peers, that alone sadly cannot sway me from my unbiased nature, as there's some stuff in this game that really did annoy me while playing it. My starting issue with this game is the fact that your currency is a shared currency. So if the group got like 20k, 20 thou wow, right, or whatever, then everyone in said group can now use that money, leading to people spending on stuff just for themselves. It also doesn't help that if you buy upgrades and no one uses them during the intermission part after buying the items from the shop, then they'll just disappear, which makes this really annoying since to continue on to the next level, one person has to confirm it. Yes, one person has to confirm whether everybody in the collective group wants to leave to go to the next level. Yeah, I guess R.E.P.O just doesn't have a vote system. I guess that's never been invented. And because of that stupid idiotic decision, it will lead to annoying situations where you'll load into the intermission and you'll try to hurry up and use your upgrade, but somebody's already confirming to go to the next level, giving you no reaction time, and again, you will lose your item once you load into the next level, so that money that you spent was ultimately pointless. Stamina? Never heard of it. Yeah, I don't know what's up with these games, but man, your pill dude, or Sammy bot, has worse stamina than my Uncle Larry, and he drinks grease when they want to throw it out. Also, don't even bother to run for prolonged speeds, as you gotta conserve your stamina hard in short bursts, or sprints, because you decided that eating McDonald's was the best option to eat at before doing this job. So, your stamina in this game usually is like what, 40 or 50, and when you click shift to run for like 2 seconds, it's already at 10. And the recharge for it is so gosh dang slow. You're trying to escape people like a scarecrow, trying to leave, trying to slide under a chair, literally anything to get out of that situation. But you can't because your stamina immediately just goes away. It's so stupid. And I understand because it's a horror game, you gotta put the whole little, I gotta be scared, gotta do the thing. And I get that. I'm not trying to downplay it. But that is just dumb, alright? That is dumb. Shouldn't the adrenaline kind of like, boost you up to kind of keep moving? Hey, that's just me. A minor mention that I want to go on about for the whole shifting back into the upgrades thing. Upgrades don't go to everyone. So, even if you did most of the work and someone decided to buy some upgrades, it's not shared all around, which I can't tell you how stupid that is. By that logic, Lil Timmy can go get an upgrade, right? For maybe like a health pack. He gets the upgrade, his health is boosted, but my health is not boosted. You kind of see the problem here? Because what do you mean that if I get an upgrade, it doesn't go to everyone else? That's stupid. If you're making the players have a shared currency, then at least give us some kind of compensation, because I don't think I need to tell you on how some people will selfishly buy items and upgrades for themselves and have led to very heated arguments. I'm being serious. I've seen some heated arguments because people will just buy things that other people didn't want them to buy, like guns and whatnot. Because again, you have this shared currency and people don't really share, that whole sharing is caring. Well, they don't care, bruh. They don't care. Now, I know someone's gonna say, well, just play single player. Look, playing single player sounds like a good alternative if you don't feel like joining up with soundboard based lobbies and whatnot. However, the problem mainly stems from it being kinda boring. Not to mention, but the game is a multiplayer focused game, and more importantly, it's a very lonely job, since it's just you and yourself, and once you lose, you just reset back to square one. You got nobody to talk to, no friends to enjoy with, and you're just playing by yourself. Whoa. And for my final point is that out of all the enemies in this game, the worst for me has to be the Reaper. At first it was going to be the Mentalist, right? As the moment that you get into his sights, the moment that he sees you, right? He'll lift you up, and if you're not pulled away by another player, he'll just slam you down and one-shot you. And that's lame as Philip with a guacamole and a side of rice crackers. But the Reaper is a whole different mood, as not only will she attack if she sees you or hears you, but she can even harm you even if you're under something. And I know while it's 10 damage per slash, if she was just attacking in a straight line and had to reset her non-existent joints back into position by, wobbling to look at you like a penguin, then she'd be fine to dodge, she'd be a little bit more manageable, right? And that's how it was originally. But the devs decided to have this whole update and basically said, nah, she can move in an 8 axis, which shouldn't even be logically or physically possible because she's a scarecrow with no joints to make sharp turns. Alright, look, this point's gonna sound kind of massively whack and just out of left field, alright? But hear me out. I know this can be said for a lot of games, but if there's one massive problem that I have with this game, at least structurally, is that the problem I have comes from an enemy issue, alright? As once you're past like the 10-hour mark of the game, you kind of seen pretty much everything, you know what I mean? You know, the enemies that kind of feel the same, the treasure, the loots, all of it just feels the same. Now, granted, I did mention about that whole changing the layout thing, but everything is the same, just positioned differently. And due to that reason, a lot of things kind of lose its fear factor when you've seen the same huntsman, the same scarecrow, the same Duckington, the same headman, the same eye man, the same people man, the same yoink. You know, all those people. You once you've seen them, they kind of like, oh, okay, it's that person. Okay, it's that person. Okay, it's that guy. Like, you'll go from being genuinely scared at even hearing a faucet creak to just wondering, okay, what 2 or 3 enemies I'm gonna fight this level. Now, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I know Ghost say boo, you know, oh swag bro, but you just said hold on. Alright? I'm not gonna tell you an untruth on this and say that seeing the huntsman won't make you quiet. You're gonna still be quiet, you're still gonna, you know, play the game as intended, alright? That's just kinda how it is. But the main enjoyment, you know, just internally, no friends, none of that. The main enjoyment you'll mainly get after a while of just seeing all this stuff is mainly just helping others out at that point. Like just showing them, hey, this is what this monster does. This is how the controls go. These are how the monster's attacks. This is what it do. That's just kind of what the end game basically is, since there's no progression. And we'll get into that in a bit. And I know, the main enjoyment, you know, is just by your friends, right? I know that argument's gonna come back. Somebody's gonna be like, just play with your friends. As if literally every game can be solved with just playing with your friends. Look, bruh, dismissing legitimate game flaws and errors simply by saying that the social interaction with your friends will carry you through is a very flat and terrible mantra that you should get out of your head. Okay? Alright, that's all I gotta say. Let's go ahead and move on. And musically speaking, man, I really wish that they added more tracks into R.E.P.O, man, as there's only like 2 main tracks, with everything else being ambience noises, you know, noises in the back. Sadly. Hopefully in later updates they'll put more OSTs in there, but for now you only got 2 music tracks to listen to that I can't sadly link in the description because no one's really made them yet. So the links that I'll put in there will be 2 secluded videos of their tracks, you know what I mean. And lastly, to conclude all of this up, alright, some enemies, like the Scarecrow, rely on seeing you in order to attack, whereas others, like the Huntsman, rely on sound to attack. However, the problem for the Huntsman though is that his hearing is a little wonky because it's trying to detect from your mic, as there have been people with soundboards and he doesn't even think about going after them. But then you can let out a little sigh in a whole different room and he'll shoot you spot on.
God, blind dude alert, blind dude alert.
There we go.
We just need... Well, I'm gonna show you how it's done, hold on.
There's 2 of them, What's up? Shh, it's the gun, man.
I'm making an attempt to get the car.
Gosh dang it! Bro, I sighed once. I sighed one time. One time. Dang it. Alright. Now, for my final thoughts on the game, okay? I think R.E.P.O is a really good game. From it being an indie company, it being early access, all of that. I think it's genuinely good. I think that it being able to use your mic and be able to detect what kind of sound that you're making to a decent degree, I think it does a relatively good job. A little annoying sometimes, a little finicky sometimes. Yes, and yes. I think the layouts is also cool, that it changes, you know, positions within every single level that you'll come back to. I think the enemies are very unique, as there's not one enemy that I can think that basically plays the same as another enemy.
And I think overall, it's a really good time. Even the players, right? I don't like to talk about the community too much on many of these games, but because I feel like that's kind of irrelevant sometimes. They are very cool. Like they're usually cool people. They're really great, awesome all around. All right. Sometimes you probably obviously run into that random annoying Joe, but overall, these people are great. So the game is not a bad game, in my personal opinion. I do really like it a lot. It's got a few flaws, as literally every other game does. But if you want a game that you want to simply sit down with and play with some of your friends, or maybe even play with randoms, hey, go at it. Just be careful about the people who use a soundboard, so you don't really kind of get them off footage and probably get a copyright strike. But with all of that being said, my final rating for this game, to fully end it off, is a Subway sandwich out of 10. Ooh. Subscribble! Thank you all so much for watching, as I plan to make the rest of the 4 reviews during this month. If you have any strats or game tips or things that you'd like others to know about, on what about this game and whatnot, then just let them know down below, as getting more information is the best of the best of cheesy strategies. I'll definitely be on Steam playing some more games, so if you want to play some R.E.P.O, Phasmophobia, just hit up. My username is literally my YouTube name, SwaggBirdie7, SwaggBro87. And if I see you out there, hey, I'll do my best to friend request and whatnot. You want to check out some cool stuff? How about y'all follow those links down below? And this will be SwaggBirdie7 trying to meet a quota on some R.E.P.O, saying to beware and take care. Bro, what kind of laugh was that? Look, I'm gonna keep it straight with you. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, I know that they're kids. That is an excuse for behavior. No, but
It's
like,
miserable. That's why I'm not like so frustrated with it. But like, it's annoying.
yeah. Okay, I was just making sure.
Fellas coming.
One that knows what he's doing.
Oh no.
Bro, took you long enough.
Get.
Oh,
Okay.
excuse me, princess. By the way, there's like.
Get in the car.
I can't.
He indeed did not beat the mess up.
Oh boy.
Level 3, Headman Manor.
I hate this map.
Maynard. You sound like Batman. It's Manor.
Henry, I will punch you to North Nebraska, bro. Get out of here. Aren't you,
Bro, I'm
Henry?
gonna try to slap you. Oh my god.
He's on my grandpa, man. The dude was getting on to me. He's like, grandson, where even is North Nebraska? I'm like, hey.